Hi, everyone. Welcome to our EPPP Coaching Circle info session, brought to you by Psychologists of Color, Inc. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this recording, and we hope you'll get to know us better and have a better understanding of the EPPP Coaching Circle by the time you finish watching the video. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what you can expect from this info session. We're going to introduce ourselves in a bit more detail so you know who's talking to you. We're also going to provide a program overview. We'll talk about the live sessions, our Vimeo showcases, and how we're utilizing our Facebook group. Then we'll move into a bit about pricing and how you can join. And we'll tell you a little bit about one-on-one EPPP support options as well. And since you're not on live, you won't be able to do a Q&A portion, but we do hope that you'll be able to reach out to us if you do have any remaining questions. Okay. Yeah, this is my slide. Hi, as I said, I'm Dr. Jordyn Trockman. If you are in our Facebook group or end up joining the Facebook group for the EPPP Coaching Circle, you'll see me there as Jordyn Holtzman. That's my married name / Facebook name. But in most cases, I'm just going by Dr. Jordyn. That's what my therapy clients call me. It's what my tutoring coaching clients call me, although sometimes just Jordyn, because most of us are all doctors. So at some point you end up dropping the doctor. But I am a licensed clinical psychologist. I own a group practice for primarily serving women called California Women's Therapy, based here in California. Also the founder of EPPP Tutoring, which is a virtual company providing EPPP support across the nation and Canada, and occasionally some others who are taking the EPPP for whatever reason. And also the founder of Psychologists of Color, Inc., a nonprofit organization helping to elevate up-and-coming psychologists of color. And also a mom. I have a 6-year-old daughter and an 18-month-old daughter. So I'm busy, and that's probably enough about me. I'll move on to the next intro. I could talk about me for a long time. But before then, okay, I've mentioned Psychologists of Color a few times. Hopefully either you've landed on this video from the Psychologists of Color Inc. website. If not, please check us out. We're a nonprofit organization founded in 2020, and we're working to increase the racial and ethnic diversity of the psychologist of workforce by supporting future and current psychologists of color. So if you're not familiar with us yet, or you're just getting to know us, please check out our website in more detail. Okay, now turning it over to Dr. Leah Hecht, who is our facilitator of the EPPP Coaching Circle. Please take a minute to introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yes. So I'm Dr. Leah Hecht, or Dr. Leah. I joined Dr. Jordyn's EPPP coaching and tutoring group in 2021. I am also a licensed clinical psychologist, background in PhD is in clinical psychology. So I trained in Chicago, spent some time in New York and in Detroit. During the day, I work for Weight Watchers as a behavioral scientist. And I've absolutely loved my time meeting with clients, preparing them for the EPPP. I also have helped other folks who are preparing for like clinical licensing, or I should say like comprehensive exams that are focused on the EPPP too. Because I find that many of the same or similar test taking strategies and things can be very helpful. And at this point, I've logged hundreds of hours of EPPP coaching and tutoring. So I have a lot of fun with it. I predominantly work with folks who are taking the test for a subsequent time, although I've worked with a number of folks who are getting ready to take the test for the initial time. And I really enjoy working with folks on test taking strategies. So yeah, we'll keep moving along, but you will see me in one-on-one if you choose to utilize those services. And I also do a lot of the facilitating for the online groups that we'll talk about here in our time today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm realizing we're explaining what we do in the coaching circle, but we haven't quite explained, well, what is it? What is this thing? So let's dive into that, and hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense to everyone watching. The EPPP Coaching Circle is an innovative resource hub and support group helping to equip psychologists with the tools, skills, and support needed to prepare for and pass the examination for professional practice in psychology, or EPPP. Again, it's only if you're a psychologist or something very close to it. There's some states where there's like a master's level individuals who take this exam, but for the most part, it's for those who have a doctoral degree in psychology who are wanting to practice as licensed providers in some way that are going to be taking this exam, and we're here to help. And that's what we're up to. If you can click through, right? That's our purpose. We really want to help people to pass. And our program provides both educational benefits and emotional benefits. On the education side, we're talking about test taking tips, study strategies, and domain-specific knowledge. And on the emotional side, it's support, community, inspiration, motivation, all the rest. And both are very much needed to get people across the finish line of this exam. Great. And a bit about the history. So the EPPP Coaching Circle existed on its own and then was part of something and then part of something else and then moved to something else. So I'm going to try to explain that as briefly as I can. But I think the common denominator is definitely me as the founder of this program. My entrepreneurial journey has been an interesting one over the last few years, especially with everything that happened in terms of COVID. So everything virtual just kind of took off. But I am someone who had provided test preparation services throughout college and grad school, SAT, ACT, independent school entrance exams, all, GREs, all that kind of stuff before graduate school. And then when it was my turn for the EPPP, I geeked out and loved it and had fun studying and did really well. But pretty quickly realized that that was not the norm. Many of my very smart, very talented cohort were struggling with the exam. And I think it clicked with me that I could be of service in some way, and I could probably help others learn some of the skills and strategies that I had used to approach the exam. So started doing that, just kind of as an on the side type thing, and really continued doing that for quite a while. In spring of 2020, I had maybe a handful of EPPP clients I was working with. And at that same time, when COVID hit and the world just kind of all changed, everyone I was working with said my site shut down, or I lost my job, or what, all their circumstances changed and they weren't able to afford one-on-one support. And I had what seemed like a really novel idea. Let's make it a group. Let's use this crazy technology to get everybody online at the same time and create a group support option. And loved it, loved it. And it became something that's followed me through all of my other paths with my really pure psychological services corporation. At one point, I had interns from California Women's Therapy helping me with recordings for the EPPP Coaching Circle. And then I founded my nonprofit organization, Psychologists of Color, Inc. And at some point, we moved into a partnership there. And further down the line, just said, oh my gosh, this is really core to the mission of Psychologists of Color. Let's just acquire it and make it one. Doesn't need to be something that's kind of existing on its own, but really a core program of the nonprofit. And again, I could probably do a whole podcast on just the slide. I'm going to try to keep it going. Leah, just let me keep on going. Leah, do you want to talk about our live sessions since you're
Sure.
leader of master?
I am glad to. So these live sessions typically take place, well, all virtually, but through WebEx, usually 1 to 2 times a month. Typically, we try to make them in the evenings or weekends whenever the majority of folks can attend. The main way that we notify people about these sessions is through our Facebook group. So usually the month before, towards the end of the month, we will post when the groups are taking place, and we'll join. We try to find times that work across a whole variety of time zones because we're all really geographically spread out, and usually these sessions are about an hour to an hour and a half. So what do we cover in these sessions? So sometimes it's more didactic training, where we'll specifically talk about test content. So we'll do a session on assessment, or we'll talk about IO, or we'll talk a little bit about statistics. Sometimes we just talk about study skills, right? So for many folks, it's been a number, or it may be a number of years since they've been in graduate school, or just had to study for a large exam. So really figuring out, like, what are the skills that helped you be successful in the past? What are the things that we know helps with learning and with retention? So we focus on study skills. And then we also have some sessions on test taking strategies, right? Like, it really is a strategic exam in that you have to choose the best answer, even that when there are multiple sort of correct answers. So we work with folks on, well, what makes one answer better than the other? So we talk a lot about that. We also recently integrated an office hour, where I'm on for the full hour, and we have folks who join, ask a couple of questions, drop off, or join for the whole time, and just use this time to connect with other folks who are taking the exam, seeing what questions they have. We'll talk about different programs that people recommend, or tips for just managing studying when we're really busy. Kind of sky is the limit. And again, there's no structure for those, but folks have found them to be helpful. We also have guest speakers. So these are oftentimes other tutors or other coaches that will come in and share more about their skills and their strategy. And then we also have members who've passed, who've come back, some of whom have been with us for a while. They'll share their story. And again, I think these are so wonderful, because one of the things we hear a lot, especially from folks who are taking the exam for a subsequent time, is that it can feel really isolating and really lonely, and like sometimes really hopeless. Like, am I ever going to pass this? And so, those members who've come back, who've agreed to share their story, we're so grateful for them. And oftentimes it can really help other folks to, feel like, I'm not alone. There are other people who had really challenging situations who have passed this exam, and it helps them know that they can too. So that's a bit about our live sessions. Dr. Jordyn, anything to add there about the live sessions?
Just that I'm itching to I'm itching to lead or co-lead a few coming up, but we can definitely hit on those when we talk a bit more about our Vimeo recording, so I can explain why I'm itching to come back. But I love the live sessions. They're great.
Sure. All right. Okay, so a little bit more about them. So these take place again in a supportive group setting. It's a really nice, talked about this a moment ago, but it's a really nice opportunity. Much of what I share in my one-on-one sessions, as far as skills that I've found to help my one-on-one clients, I'll share in the group. So I'd like to think that I could share what I've learned over the years. It's also, again, a wonderful opportunity to talk with speakers, folks who've successfully passed, as well as, again, just get support from one another. It's a nice networking opportunity, right? These are our fellow colleagues and fellow psychologists. So really nice way to connect. And then as part of this supportive group setting, there's also a nice opportunity to connect with study buddies, form small study groups. Many people say this is really, really helpful for them for accountability and just for additional support, and kind of finding times and folks that, have similar schedules and learning styles. So yeah, really nice opportunity too that can come from those live sessions.
Yeah, we've got this Facebook group as well. This is a private members only Facebook group. The actual group itself, you can access at facebook.com/groups/ EPPP coaching circle. And this is where we are housing PDF versions of past presentations. It's where our links to Vimeo showcases are housed. It's where we post announcements, discussion threads, resources, pretty much everything. You can connect there to link up for study buddies or study groups. There's a lot going on in the Facebook group, our Facebook groups, but you do not have to be a Facebook member to join the EPPP coaching circle. If you're wanting to join and get those announcements about upcoming live sessions, then you can certainly still join, and then we'll add your email address to an email list and send out those announcements.
All right. So again, what Dr. Jordyn mentioned just a moment ago, as part of the Facebook group, we have a huge number of recordings of past presentations that we have done across a whole variety of different domains. So you can see the numbers associated with each of these areas. And all of these, as part of membership to the EPPP coaching circle, you have access to all of these recordings. If you are someone where you're thinking, I really like for someone to walk me through and talk me through these concepts as opposed to just reading through a book or online, again, I find these to be incredibly helpful. I'd like to think that we provide some color and some fun and some real life examples as we're going through these things to help the material kind of come to life, which is one of the things that we know can help with both learning and retention. So huge number of recordings, all different areas. In addition to those content recordings, we also have a number of recordings on test taking strategies, study strategies, and then a huge number of guest speakers. So in addition to what I mentioned a moment ago, as far as the guest speakers being those who've successfully passed, we also have guest speakers who share their expertise across a variety of different areas. So these could be things like my colleague and fellow EPPP tutor and coach, Dr. Elizabeth Bistrong, who's a neuropsychologist, did a really nice session on disorders of aging and things to be aware of neuropsychologically. So it's, again, a really nice opportunity to hear from folks who are experts across a variety of areas, talk about their expertise, and a really nice way, again, to kind of bring these concepts to life and kind of make the material sort of more exciting than just through the book.
Lovely. And if you go back a couple of slides for a second, I noticed in putting this together that our IO is a little bit lacking. It's not that we didn't do the presentations, it's because they've been around so long that it's before we have the recording working fully. So the very first EPPP coaching circles I did, we don't have the recordings from. So I'm itching to redo them. I'm like, I have the presentations, I created them, I teach this all the time, but they're not up on Vimeo. So that's something that definitely this summer or perhaps this fall, when it works for the EPPP coaching circle, I want to come on live and complete that didactic series. But otherwise, I think we've done it, right? We've got the whole of this has been a 3-year thing, but we've got basically video recordings teaching pretty much all of the content.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to say, that someone doesn't still need study materials. You still need your study materials, but this is a really, really nice supplement, especially for people whose teaching style is something different than just reading words on a paper. Yeah. I think they're pretty solid, and we love getting feedback, and we love when people reach out asking either for new material or with recommendations for improvement. We want it to be as beneficial to people as possible. Let's see.
All right.
Membership. Okay. So when we say membership, what are we talking about? Membership covers all of the following. It's attendance at our live sessions, which is what we mean, those virtual group meetings. I call those the live sessions. It's also access to the members only Facebook group. Reminder, that's where we're housing our PDF presentations of didactic presentations. It's where the announcements happen, the resources, discussion threads, all that jazz in the Facebook group. And also access to links and updated passwords for all of our Vimeo recording showcases, domain content, strategies, stories. We've got quite a library at this point. So membership is going to include access to all of those. And then I'm calling this traditional pricing. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, the EPPP Coaching Circle has kind of changed entities over time, and the way that pricing used to work, and I just copy pasted the language, it used to be you can join the EPPP Coaching Circle for 1 month by making a one-time donation of $79. And following your first month, you may continue your EPPP Coaching Circle membership for the low price of $49 a month. Save time and money by joining the EPPP Coaching Circle for 2 or more months by setting up a recurring donation of $49. So that was our traditional pricing. But if you move to the next slide, well, boom. We are now under the Psychologists of Color Inc. umbrella. So we've taken what was technically a for-profit group and made it a part of a nonprofit organization. And in doing so, our goal is for the EPPP Coaching Circle to be accessible to all psychologists in need of support, regardless of financial situation, while also trying to financially support the work of Psychologists of Color Inc. So we're not using the language membership fees anymore. We're using just the language tax-deductible donations because they are. So any money is paid to the EPPP Coaching Circle, or actually not to the coaching circle itself, that doesn't exist as a financial legal entity, but they're to Psychologists of Color Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And all of those donations are working to support our mission of increasing the racial and ethnic diversity of the psychologist of workforce by supporting future and current psychologists of color. Now everything's donation-based, which means we have a donation form on our website, the Psychologists of Color Inc. website. If you go there, you're going to see this donation form. It will let you either select a monthly or a one-time donation. And if you're able to donate in line with that previous pricing structure, you still have the $79 button, you still have the $49 button, but you'll see that there's also an other blank, and you can put whatever amount in there is most feasible for you. And again, can be a monthly donation or a one-time donation. And we do certainly encourage donations, but they are not required. We just want it to be accessible for all. So that other field may be your friend, depending on your circumstances. And this is just to see what the website is looking like currently, although I think this recording might get boosted front and center on the website, so that might change slightly, but we're talking psychologistsofcolor.com/EPPP-support, and that's going to take you to the webpage with information, very similar information, but in Word form about the EPPP Coaching Circle, and also that donation form so you can join.
All right. You want me to take this one?
Yeah, please.
All right. So one of the things that we do when we have folks, they'll reach out, they'll fill out our intake form to kind of share with us a little bit about what it is that they're looking for. And as part of that, we, often I'll get asked, well, how do I decide on group versus one-on-one support? And there's a huge variety of different things to consider. Sometimes we have folks who are part of both, who want one-on-one support, but also want the group. And the number of folks who will choose one or the other for various reasons, right? So some things to consider is kind of where you're at in the process, right? Do you feel like you have a solid study plan, or do you feel like you could benefit from working one-on-one with someone to kind of get up and running? How strong are your test taking skills? Do you feel like it would be helpful for you to be in a group and learn from others what they found to be helpful? Or would you find it more helpful to talk with a coach or a tutor and practice those test taking skills one-on-one? Sometimes too, folks will say, well, I'm really struggling in particular domains and I really want to get some more one-on-one help in learning statistics or learning test construction. And while the videos can be really helpful, it's nice in a one-on-one environment to be able to ask specific questions that you may have. So for some folks, getting that one-on-one support, especially when it comes to learning or better understanding new areas, can be super helpful. Managing test anxiety, again, sometimes that's something that can be really helpful in a group format. What have others found to be helpful versus one-on-one? General support, I think, is a really nice thing that both the group and one-on-one can provide, right? So feeling discouraged, feeling alone, right? These are a lot of things that we talk about, and really, again, a nice supportive environment that I think many people will say, I didn't know what to expect in coming to the group, but really felt very supported and was glad that they spent their time with us. Benefit from accountability, right? So sometimes people will say, I don't feel like I need the one-on-one support, but coming to the groups once or twice a month is really helpful because I can kind of check in, share with others what's been going on, and use them as an additional resource. And then, of course, budget constraints. So I believe next we'll talk a little bit about the pricing, but certainly less expensive for the group as opposed to one-on-one support.
Absolutely. So for those of you who are considering private EPPP tutoring, I'm also the owner of EPPP Tutoring, owner, founder, and one of the tutors, as is Dr. Leah Hecht. We have some other team members currently as well. Dr. Elizabeth Bistrong, I always want to say Be Strong because I think her last name's awesome. Dr. Elizabeth Bistrong and Dr. Rebecca Heron, both also really great tutors and coaches for the EPPP. And if you're wanting more, something's happened wonky on this slide. What happened? It's www.drjordyn.com is what it used to look like. And you can reach me. My email there is drjordyn@eppp-tutoring.com. Most of the time recently, there tends to be a bit of a waiting list for one-on-one support through our team. Sometimes if you have a lot of availability, we might be able to accommodate right away. Other times there might be a waiting list, or we might be providing referrals out. Sometimes people reach out to us, and whether it's an availability issue or sometimes price point as well, we might connect you with other tutors and coaches. I've built, I think, quite a network of of tutors and coaches in the EPPP space. I wouldn't have known so much of my life would still revolve around the EPPP this many years later, but it does. So we're definitely worth reaching out to, whether you end up working with one of our team members or we help connect you elsewhere. We can kind of steer you in the right direction for one-on-one EPPP support as well. Yeah, and that concludes our info session. Leah, thank you so much for recording with me today. And I hope that those of you who are watching found this helpful and that you'll feel free to reach out to us. All right. Feel free, for those of you, depending on which website or channel you're seeing this on, you can either reach out via email or go on to either of our websites, contacts form, either psychologistofcolor.com or drjordyn.com. And certainly we hope to see you or be in touch with you soon. All right, take care.
Thank you.